heard many instances wherein we end up purchasing something just to ease our stress. And just like we say stress eating, we do uh, we do engage in stress shopping. In that case, we just purchase just because others are doing it, right? We purchase because uh, it is actually, I'm so happy with the question because it is actually related to many of the biases that we discussed. It's not an informed choice, first of all. We are just following the crowd, secondly. The marketers, the producers, they know our mindset better than we know ourselves. So they know that, okay, if something is priced at 1,000, the value we attach to it, and when it is priced at 999, the cost we think about will be different. Even if it's just a rupee, that has an impact upon the way we think. It definitely influences our perception. When we think of finance or financial decision making, the first thing that comes to our mind would be numbers, because all the financial terms like expenses, income, cost, investment, tax, all that comes in figures. So it's quite natural that whenever we think something about finance, we think of the numbers only. But if finance is only about numbers, then all the financially aware or financially educated people, they should be able to make perfect financial decisions. But as we know, that's not the case. And that's where the title and the theme of financial literacy holds significance. So let me just tell you, the entire session is not about identifying or judging financial mistakes. What we try to do is we are just exploring beyond numbers. And our goal is definitely not perfection, but definitely awareness. So, is the next slide visible, Nancy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So, when we tell like financial decisions are not just about numbers, what we mean is the decisions are not just influenced by numbers. There are different hidden factors, as Naisi has rightly pointed out in the introductory remark. There are factors which are hidden. Many of them are psychological, mainly related to our emotions, which plays a role when it comes to making choices. So when we say emotions, most of your emotions like excitement, confidence, maybe regret or fear, all that play a role in the decisions that we make. Many a time, even if we are supposed to make rational, thoughtful decisions, uh, our decision making doesn't end up like that. Many a time, we are too hasty, too abrupt, and too reactive to our emotions. Instead of just responding, instead of just thinking over what's happening, we may be in a hurry to make decisions. So even though we are supposed to be rational human beings, we don't do that actually. And there are factors which shape our judgment and thereby our behavior. So let me just ask you a few questions. And if you think that, okay, if you have faced similar situations, be honest and type in the chat box yes or no. So the first thing that I have to ask you is, have you ever purchased a product just because it was marketed or announced to be a limited item? I say, hope you would tell me the answers. Like,
Yeah, Prabhankar has said no. Monica said yes. Deepak, no. Srikumar, yes.
okay,
Pooja,
yeah.
not
So,
exactly.
okay, okay, no problem. So I'll ask a few more questions. So, are you a person who use credit cards despite knowing the consequences without following financial discipline?
Monica, no. Srikumar, yes. Deepak, no. Meka, yeah. Meka, no. Neha, no.
Okay,
Vishu,
fair enough.
yes.
Yeah. So the next question, um, do you choose a brand just because it is familiar to you, even after knowing that better alternatives exist in the market?
Yes. And Shuman has said yes. Deepak, yes. Nona, yes. Monica, yes. Mega, yes. Srikumar, no. Nisha, yes. Swapna, yes. Rekha, yes.
Okay, thank
Santoshi,
you so
yes.
much for the responses. I feel really good. And the next question, do you feel happier once you use the UPI instead of making payments by physical cash?
Ramkumar, yes. Pooja, no. Deepak, yes. Meka, no. Anshuman, yes. Noora, yes. Shalini, yes. Rekha, yes. Nikita, no. Nisha, no. Indu, yes.
Okay, okay. So we have a couple of mixed responses, but mostly we got many S as positive responses. So whenever you have made any such decision that we've just talked about, you have experienced behavioral finance in real life. You might not have thought that, okay, it's behavioral finance, but you have been a part of behavioral finance. So behavioral finance tries to tell you how people should behave, how people should decide, and how they actually decide or how they actually make decisions. So, all our discussion today is revolving around behavioral finance, and it becomes our umbrella concept. So behavioral finance, as the term rightly suggests, it's a combination of finance and psychology. So it tells us, okay, I hope it's the next slide. Yeah, so it tells us how people actually make financial decisions. It helps us to understand the underlying factors which trigger our financial decisions. So, all the questions that we've asked, like maybe we fear losses, and that fear of loss may be provoking us to make a decision. Perhaps we are really confident or overconfident in our knowledge, in our financial knowledge, and we end up making a decision. And sometimes it so happened that we are not so sure about something, so we just follow what others are doing. We just follow the crowd. And sometimes we may continue our investment even after knowing that, okay, it's not fetching us any income. And sometimes we make illogical or impulsive spending decisions. So all these terms, all these instances that we might have faced, or we naturally or we normally face in our real life, all that which are part of behavioral finance happen because of something called bias. So everyone will be like aware of the term bias. Similarly, here we are talking about behavioral biases. So behavioral biases, you know the meaning of the term bias. So behavioral biases here refer to a pattern of thinking that we follow when we make financial decisions. So these patterns can be like predictable and systematic away from rational decision making. So these biases are, we can't just say, okay, these biases are random biases. They are not, but they are common. And they are common, but they are not actually mistakes. We can't generalize it as mistakes, but they are human tendencies that influence people, that influence their thought process, that influence the way they finally choose. So, all our discussion will be about understanding in depth about the biases that may shape our financial decision making. So, I've just categorized the biases under different heads. And the first bias is about biases about pain and pleasure. So, the term pain and pleasure, that has a significance, right? As human beings, we all try to seek pleasure and avoid or get rid of pain. That's our normal tendency. And that normal tendency of ours gets reflected in the decisions that we make. So when we think about biases that influence us in financial decision making, we should talk about two biases. They are loss aversion and present bias and opportunity cost neglect. So loss aversion refers to we try to avoid losses even if we are gaining something. Okay. So the losses hurt more, even if there are gains. So if there is a loss of rupees 1,000 and if there is a gain of rupees 1,000, we don't perceive both rupees 1,000 as the same. Of course, the loss hurts more. We feel the loss more. We become emotional about the loss more than we feel about the gain. So it's a human tendency that our brain is so wired that we are more sensible to losses and we are not equally sensible to the gains. We normally tell that, right? As it's a basic human tendency that we don't feel happy that easily, but we feel stressed out very easily. We feel that worry very easily. And we will be like waiting for an impactful reason to be happy. The same thing is applicable here as well, in loss aversion as well. That's why it says losing 500 hurts more than gaining 500. Even if both the amounts are the same, we don't feel it the same way. And the implication of this loss aversion in decision making is that we avoid opportunities, or we postpone embracing good opportunities because we are too much focused into the risk associated with it, or the possible losses that may come as part of it. So the right thing to do here is not to judge the opportunities with the short term effect it carry, but think about the long term influence more than and weight more than the immediate losses. So it's quite natural that people are extremely cautious when they have to make a decision. So and of course it's good to be thoughtful. We have to be thoughtful. We have to think 360 in a 360-degree angle. We should take into account both the gains as well as the losses. But that fear of loss, it shouldn't be a preventing factor from taking up a good opportunity. So we that's the thing. We shouldn't be like overreactive to the potential losses. We should ask ourselves, what if I take it? What do I really lose if I take that opportunity? So if we think that way, this loss aversion bias will not be a problem to us. And the next thing is present bias and opportunity cost neglect. By the term present bias, uh, what what does it indicate is we give too much importance to the present. That term may appear to be a bit contradictory, because we always say we should live in the present, we should embrace the moment and all that. So, but when we think of it from a financial perspective, it's slightly different, because we shouldn't be like giving too much importance to the present comfort, and that stop us from thinking about the future. So we should give importance to the future as well, instead of just feeling that, okay, I feel comfortable now and I don't want to go for further, I don't want to proceed further. We should give equal importance to the present as well as the future, and we should be able to make at most benefit out of both the present as well as the future. And it's because of this present bias that we may save later. We always have that feeling of we may start saving later, and the saving gets postponed because we are too much focusing on the present life. And the opportunity cost, I don't know whether you are aware of the term opportunity cost. Opportunity cost refers to it is applicable only when there are choices. So naturally, when we have to take up one opportunity, we have to neglect the other one. We have to forsake the other one. And the benefit that arises, that might have arisen from the forsaken opportunity, that is known as opportunity cost. So whenever we make financial decisions, we should take into account this opportunity cost. We should evaluate each opportunity with the benefits associated and make a prudent decision. So the example I've given there, repeatedly ordering food online, that is our comfort zone, right? So that gives us some convenience. So instead of cooking, or instead of home cooked meals, if we order food online, that's definitely easy. But we have to think of the benefits that we might be forsaking when we take that opportunity. So one order that may seem insignificant, but what if we order online every day for a month? How much cost do we incur? So we should be thinking with that perspective, and that gives us some clarity. And clarity always helps us in taking insightful decisions. And similar way, like the EMI. So EMIs a month seems very less maybe, but taking several EMI and finding it difficult to financially manage everything, like puts us under pressure, puts us in problem. So similarly, we may keep money in deposit in low interest fetching accounts while we have high interest loans. So all that happens because we don't weigh both the opportunities, and we don't consider the benefits that arise out of the opportunities. And similar thing is impulse buying. Impulse buying is applicable more to the present bias, I feel, because we are too much focused into the present things, our present comfort, and we may take decisions, we shop, we purchase impulsively without thinking much about it. So before buying, just think, okay, what if I don't purchase it today? And you can just even add the item to the cart, and maybe if you think of it tomorrow, you may not even feel like purchasing the product. So all that talks about, making a decision out of emotion instead of thinking logically. So the next biases about what we think we know. So the two things that definitely part of it are overconfidence bias and confirmation bias. So we are always confident with what we know, and we enjoy like feeling good about whatever we know and whatever we believe to be true. So these two biases are part of it, overconfidence bias. And overconfidence bias, we think that, okay, I know everything, I know better than others, I can make a good decision because I'm informed. And all that. We are too sure about our abilities, our capacities, our decision making skills. So we feel that, okay, we can predict everything. We feel that, okay, we know what to do, I know what to do, and we definitely feel confident. But confidence is definitely needed. We all need confidence, but there is definitely a difference between feeling confident and feeling overconfident. When we feel overconfident, what happens is we underestimate the risks associated with it. So we may constantly buy and sell shares because we feel, okay, I am following the market, I have done research, and I know what to do, and all that. We may take loans because we feel, okay, it's under control, I can pay, and I can manage this debt. And I told that the the borderline between being confident and being overconfident is very narrow. We have to be confident in our decisions, but whenever we feel overconfident, there is a tendency to underestimate the risk. There is a tendency to overestimate our control. We feel like, omnipotent, and we may end up in making wrong choices. So we may not even seek advices. We may not opt for other options just because we are overconfident. And the next thing is confirmation bias. Confirmation is definitely a different dimension of overconfidence bias. In confirmation bias, what happens is we want information which totally confirm our feelings, totally, validate our beliefs. So it's a human tendency to seek validation, even if we know that, okay, we are doing good, even if we are satisfied with ourselves. To be ultimately satisfied, we need that validation. And seeking validation will not be the right thing in financial decision making if we choose to hear only positives. We choose to hear only things and information that support our views. So it's our tendency to search for information, give importance to information, believe information that support what we already know. And definitely we ignore people, we ignore the viewpoints that are contradictory to what we believe. So naturally, we follow news that are positive. We talk and discuss with people who agree to our opinions. What happens is we will be like blind to the warning signals. We won't listen to people even if they hint us the danger behind our decision making. So we become more and more confident without actually becoming right, because the right decision comes from impartial sources. So we need to listen to both the positives as well as the negatives. Then only we will be able to synthesize the information properly and take a rational decision. So next time when we have to make a decision, surely we have to look for the positive news which supports us, but we have to look for the information disconfirms the evidence, which contradicts our views. So we have to challenge ourselves. We have to question ourselves. What if I am wrong over here? So our intelligence, like our true intelligence, comes not from defending properly all the contradictory views, but it comes from our perception, the clarity of perception to evaluate, maybe to re-evaluate their points and make a right decision. So the next biases are about people and the crowd, and it's something which we all are getting uh, part of it, maybe even without our knowledge. So following the crowd always seem to be a wiser option, because we think, okay, we are not in trouble then. As we are social beings, it's quite natural to follow the crowd. But whenever there is an uncertainty, we think that, okay, if I take a decision, the entire blame will be upon me. So it's better to follow the crowd. And psychologically, it's comforting. But when we choose that psychologically comforting option, we may let the crowd influence us. And that's how even the scarcity seems to be tempting. If you remember the beginning questions that we've asked, we've talked about something in relation to the scarcity as well, to which many of you have, responded positively. So first, we'll talk about herd behavior and social proof. Both are almost related. Like we are getting influenced by the crowd in both herd behavior and social proof. But in herd behavior, we follow the crowd blindly. We just follow the crowd. We don't ask any questions. But in social proof, we need some proof. We need some validations. We need some evidences. So we look at the people. We see what they are doing. We try to think of it a bit, and okay, then we think, okay, if they are doing it, they might have done some research, so they might be right, so it's okay if I do it. So in that way, social proof and herd behavior slightly differs. In herd behavior, we just invest in something, or if you talk about a course, we just do a course, or if we just make career choices just because our friends, our colleagues, or our cousins do that. But in social proof, we sorry, in social proof, we may buy something after checking the reviews. So we check the reviews. We understand that, okay, many have purchased the product. Then there's nothing wrong even I purchase it. So that's the way we seek for social proof and doing something, or making or taking a decision. And in scarcity principle, as even and Nicey has said, in scarcity principle, the word scarcity holds significance. When we come to know that, okay, something is scarce, something is limited, something is going to end, we attach more value to it. All of a sudden, that becomes valuable, that becomes precious, and we feel that urge to go for it. So scarcity principle is widely followed by marketers. What they do is they advertise their products in such a way that it creates an urgency in our mind. It's not the need. We are not focusing on the need. We are not driven by the need, but we are being pressurized by an urgency to take a decision. So you might have heard of the term FOMO, fear of missing out. So even without thinking clearly, we just take a decision. So people buy things that they don't really need whenever we get to know that, okay, something is limited, like the sentences as the slide shows, only 2 rooms left, only 50 seats, hurry up, the offer valid only till midnight, the clearance sale ends today, and all that makes us purchase, or creates an urgency. That's the scarcity principle. And next, moving on to the biases about how information is presented. So it's not just the information, it's also the way the information is presented holds importance. We are all carried away by the first impressions. We may attach more significance, perceived value to recent experiences. We may have some reference point based on which we act. And these tendencies bring us to two terms: anchoring and recency bias. By anchoring, we mean there is an anchor. And normally the anchor is the first thing that capture our attention, the first thing, the first number that we notice mostly. So we get stuck over there, and that anchor decides how we proceed further. Though the first number influences our decision, even if we know that, okay, it's of no significance, it is irrelevant now. So if we see like MRP is 3,000, but our price is 1,500. So the first thing we notice is 3,000. Okay. We may not even think whether the product is worth even 1,500. What captures our attention is, okay, 3,000, and now they are giving it us for 1,500. Then we shouldn't be missing out the opportunity. So when a real estate people uh, tell us, okay, the original price of the property is 60 lakh, but now it is being available for 55 lakh. All of a sudden, our impression changes, our attitude changes. Uh, we start thinking about it seriously. So, the first thing that we notice, the anchor, it strikes us always. So we should think, okay, if I don't know, if I hadn't known the number, the first number, would I have considered this offer as significant? So if you think that, okay, if I didn't know the number earlier, mm, I wouldn't have attached this significance to it. You are thinking in the right way. So the same thing is applicable as you might have noticed that the students, even if they are getting placement offers, they may not join the jobs because they have a dream salary in their mind, and till then they are offered a similar or a match salary. They will be like waiting because they fixed a particular amount as the salary they need. So that's how the anchor, it stops us from going further. And next is recency bias. Recency bias, sorry, recency bias tells us what happened recently, that becomes important. So what happened last, always it sustains. So we may just forget everything that happened so far, and we may be just carried away by the recent events. So we always tell that in as a human tendency, right? We always say no matter how much of a good we do, people forget it easily. But if we have done something wrong, they never forget it. So similarly, so we give an extra relevance, extra significance to recent events, and we just ignore the long-term perspective, both the past trends and also the future likely events. So we just make decisions based on the sudden mood swings, the short-term mood swings, instead of forgetting the long-term data, the long-term information that we had. So we give too much importance to what did well recently, and we may even forget that that particular decision was proven wrong in the last 1 year or 1 or 2 years. So it's always better to keep a bigger window, bigger framework in our mind so that, sorry, so that we can make prudent decisions. So the next is about the biases about how we score. How we score refer to how we evaluate. Okay, so there are three biases which fall under this category. Like they are like sunk cost fallacy, mental accounting, and familiarity bias or lack of diversification. You might be aware of all these terms. You might have experienced it, even if you don't know the terms as such. So we'll just check them one by one. Sunk cost fallacy. Sunk cost is related to a cost which has already incurred. Sunk cost refer to a cost which has already incurred in the past. It's already sunk. And in sunk cost fallacy, we attach too much importance to what has happened in the past. So if we have made an investment, we will feel bad that, okay, I've made an investment, I've suffered so much, so now I can't, change my mindset. So that is where sunk cost fallacy gain importance. So as human beings, we do invest our resources, be it our effort, be it our time, be it our money, and all these resources that we have already invested that cannot be recovered. So with that thought, as I have made an investment, there is no comeback. That way, people may think. So we continue being with a wrong decision just because we have taken that decision. Uh, Even if a business is not doing well, we have understood that, okay, there is no point in continuing like that, but still we feel emotionally connected to it. We feel that, okay, I have invested so much and now I can't step back. So that thought keeps us from moving forward. So, as the example suggests in the slide, we may continue watching a movie just because we have paid for the ticket. We won't like feel like stopping or even getting out of the theater. We want to make fuller utilization of the amount that we've already paid. So, as it is written over there, like we may continue with a failed project even after knowing that, okay, it's not gonna work out. We may wait endlessly for an investment to fetch us income, even if we realize that, okay, it's unrealistic to wait. So in such situations, what's needed uh, is we should think what's done is done and what's next. And that shift is emotionally it's difficult, but once we have overcome that emotionally difficult situation, we become financially powerful. So the next is mental accounting. In mental accounting, what we say is uh, we do some mental calculations with the accounting figures. And so even if we know that, okay, each and every rupee is the same, we don't treat them the same. We create mental boxes and we set apart money in those mental boxes. So what actually happens is we create some labels, and based on those labels, we treat the money. We don't treat the money based on its value. Like 1,000 rupees may not be the same once we assign those 1,000 rupees to different mental boxes. But that again makes us think a bit, because mental boxes are good as long as it helps us following financial discipline. As human beings, as rational human beings, we need to have financial discipline, but we need to know that, okay, these mental boxes should not prevent us from making or taking rational decisions. So uh, financial wisdom is required. I will tell you an example if you need much clarity about it. If we have 1,000 rupees, uh, when we spend that 1,000 rupees out of our salary, and when we spend that 1,000 rupees out of a bonus, or maybe out of lottery win, that seems to be different. Actually speaking, 1,000 rupees received as salary and 1,000 rupees received as bonus, that's the same amount. But we become so strict with the salary part, and we become so lavish with the spending part with regard to the bonus. So that shouldn't be the case. That mental box should not be the factor which triggers our decision. We should be focusing on the urgency. We should be exercising financial wisdom. We should take the overall picture into mind, and we should be flexible as well. We shouldn't be just naming them or labeling them emotionally. And the next bias is familiarity and lack of diversification. And familiarity and lack of diversification, both the terms are related to the comfort zone that we enjoy. So naturally, we feel comfortable doing things which we are familiar with. Naturally, we feel comfortable if we follow the same path instead of, choosing a different route. As human beings, it's natural that we feel comfortable with familiarity. We prefer familiarity, and that's why we always engage with the business houses, or when we take the case of financial institutions, there may be some institutions that we are totally comfortable with, and we keep all our money in that financial institution. And even if it's investment decisions, we keep all our investment with one particular platform, with a particular real estate owner which we know, or whom we are comfortable with. So familiarity, we can argue that familiarity uh, uh, like ensures trust. To some extent it's true, but over relying on something, over reliance on a particular platform, or a particular investment option, or a particular option, that increases the risk as well. So even if it's good to have some amount of comfort, it's always risky to be over reliant with that option. So what happens is, and that's the case with lack of diversification. So diversification, as the second point says, it says putting all eggs in one basket. If there is lack of diversification, we put all the eggs in one basket. So we may say that, okay, it's because we trust that basket, but it's not about distrust. It's about, what if something goes wrong? What if something goes wrong? Because we lose everything that we have. So it's not about distrust. It's about, the protection. It's about being prudent. So even if we are, diversifying our investments, if we are diversifying the choices, even if one area suffers, everything will not collapse all of a sudden. So that again becomes that ensures safety more than comfort, and more than comfort, what we need is safety. And the core message I would like to convey with all our discussion about biases is that we can't say, okay, biases are rare. Biases are not rare, actually. They're just, and we can't say like, they are exceptions. No, they are not exceptions. They are human tendencies. They are deeply human. So when we think in a biased way, that's because we are human beings, and we are being susceptible to all that happen in and around us. So we can't say people are foolish or people lack intelligence. It's not that. It's not that people lack intelligence, but many a time emotions become predominant, and more than uh, being an informed decision maker, people become emotional decision makers. So, just by knowing about all these biases, we can't say, okay, we from next day onwards will be like eliminating all the biases. That may not happen, but definitely knowing about the biases, that awareness, it helps us to evaluate the opportunities uh, in a better way. So we become more conscious, we become less impulsive, and maybe we become more balanced. So what we need is a small awareness, but even a small awareness can result in the finest decisions. So before making any financial decision, we should take a pause. We should reflect on the choices that we have. We should challenge our emotions. We should question ourselves. Then only we have to, take a decision. So, that will definitely help us create or go for thoughtful choices. And thoughtful choices are always goal driven and not emotion driven. They don't just see the short term perspective or the recent events. They do look for the past trends as well as, the long term perspective. And that will definitely help us evaluate the real information with clarity, and it will help us to own financial discipline. So you should question yourself, like, am I reacting emotionally? Am I just following the crowd? Am I ignoring the warning signals that uh, come my way? Am I just confusing familiarity with safety? Am I just staying in a past investment just because I've invested? When we start questioning ourselves, that self reflection will definitely help us in refining our decisions. So even a short pause, is slight pause, will help us take calmer decisions. So it's not about the information. We may have many information. What matters is not the quantity of information that we have. What matters is the quality of information and the quality of decision making. And those quality decisions comes only if we understand ourselves better, we understand our emotions better. And once we have that awareness of ourselves, we'll be more thoughtful, we'll be less regretful, we'll be more mindful, we'll be calmer, and we'll be less reactive. So, just to end our discussion, if we think financial decision making is not about wealth creation, it's about peace of mind mostly, because many of the stress that we feel in our life financially is not out of lack of resources. We do have the resources, we have the clarity of mind, we have all the information, but we react too impulsively to our emotion. So that behavioral awareness definitely helps us reduce the pressure that we feel. It helps us feel lighter. So, because beyond numbers, what matters is the human decision, because every financial decision is a human decision. So, if we think life is truly a blessing, it's just that we are stressing our life a lot. If we think with clarity, we will understand that what matter the most is our peace of mind, our relationships, our health, and not the financial gains that we may achieve in life. And all the financial decision that we make in our life does not deserve our stress. So we need to understand that life is truly a blessing, and not every financial decision deserves our stress.
When gold prices go up, people, purchase more, expecting it to go even more up. So are we likely to make wrong decisions if the cost or investment involved is high?
So, like, if we think from the emotional bias perspective, behavioral bias perspective, uh, what happens is this is related to the recency bias which we've talked about. So our decisions, in order to be rational, it shouldn't be just based on the recent events. It shouldn't be just based on the confidence that we have in our perception. So, if we have done enough research, it's like buying more. Thinking that the price may go up. That's the question, I believe. So, buying
Yes.
more, thinking that the price may go up, uh, can be a prudent decision if we have done enough research behind the process, if it's about shares or if it's about whatsoever. But at the same time, our discussion was more, it can be more articulated to the case of panic buying. If we buy panically, like, without analyzing the present situation and whatever, if our decision is just triggered by what has happened recently, we may end up in panic buying as well as panic selling. So that shouldn't be the case. We have to understand the situation. We have to follow the trends. We have to keep the future in our perspective. And then if we make a decision, it will be a prudent one.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. Ahead of the union budget, expecting a tax increase, people buy gadgets or goods due to fear of price rise. So, how to avoid such decisions?
Uh, Again, like as we said, it can be based on two things. Like we can articulate that to impulsive buying, because it can be like more than that, it can be like articulated to how others behave. So if we see that, okay, others are going for a purchase out of their impression that because of the budget, once the budget is being presented, the prices may go up. And that is what we discussed with regarding the herd behavior and social proof. So it shouldn't be just based on how others behave. And there as well, and everything is like the bottom line is the same thing. Like we should be informed and we should have clarity on the information. We shouldn't be like, too quick in coming to a conclusion. We should synthesize the information, and it shouldn't be just out of our perception that the price may go up. We should follow the market trends. We should check what has happened in the past. And if there are enough reasons for us to believe that the price may go up, you may be making the right decision. But it shouldn't be just out of the pressure that someone else is doing it. And that's what happens in all this impulsive buying and, the scarcity, which triggers us buying or going for something.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. Um, and ultimately, buying or spending is about feeling happy or contented. So, does that push us into impulse buying?
Pardon?
Like, ultimately, buying or spending is about feeling happy or contented. So, does that push us into impulse buying?
Okay. Naturally, that's the basic thing that happens. Especially, I think it's not good to be, gender oriented out here, but I've heard many like instances wherein we end up purchasing something just to ease our stress. And just like we say stress eating, we do engage in stress shopping. So just to we may say, okay, we may go for a spa, or we may visit a salon just to make us feel good. Similar way, we just scroll through the websites. We just find pleasure in finding a particular product of our choice, and once we grab it, we feel so contented. The question is, how lasting is that feeling of happiness or the feeling of content. That's why I said you can just add it to the cart and again check the next day, and even after 24 hours you feel that okay, this is gonna increase my happiness. There is nothing wrong in going for it, because ultimately the sole purpose is to be happy, to be peaceful. But at the same time, you shouldn't regret that, okay, I shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't feel bad that, okay, I shouldn't have purchased it. That's the only thing.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. We'll take up one more question. Um, Having a competitive mindset, buying something because others we know have purchased it, and we would look small before them. So, keeping up with Johnness, is it another major factor for irrational buying?
It's definitely a major factor behind irrational buying, because that's what in that case we just purchase just because others are doing it, right? We purchase because it is actually, I'm so happy with the question because it is actually related to many of the biases that we discussed. It's not an informed choice, first of all. We are just following the crowd, secondly. We don't even look for evidence, actually. Instead, we just try to seek an instant pleasure in something. We buy impulsively just because we should be at par with someone uh, who may not be even related to us, isn't it? So every one of us, even if we are all human beings, our emotions do differ, our resources do differ, our needs do differ. So our decision making should be out of our needs, and it shouldn't be just out of what makes us look good. It should be something which it shouldn't be just something which may make us feel good for some time. It should be something which help us fetch value, help us reap benefits out of our decision. So, as you rightly said, irrational, the moment we start copying someone, we are becoming irrational. There is no logic behind it, right?
Thank you so much, ma'am. There's one question from Hemanti. It is often observed that the price of everyday items is set at 999 rather than 1,000. So, what difference in mindset between the buyer and the organization does this pricing strategy reveal?
Yeah, there is a pricing strategy behind it, and it's also called a psychological pricing, because and that's again because of our mindset. The marketers, the producers, they know our mindset better than we know ourselves. So they know that, okay, if something is priced at 1,000, the value we attach to it, and when it is priced at 999, the cost we think about will be different. Even if it's just a rupee, that has an impact upon the way we think. It definitely influences our perception, and that's called, the value doesn't differ over there, but the perceived value differs. So we feel that, okay, we are paying less, or we feel that maybe there is a feeling of comfort or relief. And for the marketers, they're just losing a rupee, just at a rupee less, they are gaining sales. So it's a psychological pricing thing. It's also called odd pricing, I believe.